President Uhuru Kenyatta is now going to Nyanza and seemingly to a warm reception from the reports that we have had so far. The residents of Nyanza are actually being very ready to welcome President Uhuru Kenyatta today, and of course he will be accompanied by NASA leader Raila Odinga. So here in Nyeri County, residents actually have got, will express their reaction right now just to say what they think, what impact this will have on the country's future, what impact it will have also politically. Do they think that this visit by President Uhuru Kenyatta and Raila Odinga to Nyanza 9 months after the handshake will improve the country's state now that he can freely go to Nyanza? Remember, before the handshake, it was chaotic anytime the president visited the home turf of his then competitor Raila Odinga, but right now he seemingly is going to Nyanza to a warm reception. I am in Karatina town. I want to engage the residents of Karatina who come from, this is Nyeri County, of course, the county where President Uhuru Kenyatta enjoys massive support from the residents here, and I'll just engage them just to find out what they think of this particular visit by President Uhuru Kenyatta and Raila Odinga to Kisumu. So tutaanza kwanza, utanieleza jina lako alafu niambie leo hii Rais Uhuru Kenyatta anaelekea katika maeneo ya Kisumu na eneo zima la Nyanza. Pengine tueleze, unaona hii ina umuhimu gani kwa taifa la Kenya, ama wewe unaichukulia vipi mwanzo?
Okay, asante. Kwa majina naitwa Joseph Muriuki, na pia jambo hili la ziara ya Uhuru kuelekea pande za Kisumu inatufurahisha kwa sababu tunajua nchi ilikuwa na shida na misukasuko kwa ajili ya kabila tofauti tofauti kuwa na ugawanyiko. Na sasa hilo jambo pia tunaona itasaidia kwa wananchi kuwa kitu kimoja, na pia ile uhasama baina ya makabila kuisha, na pia kuwa ati watu watakuwa watu wa muungano moja, na pia wataenda kwa mwelekeo moja. Kwa ajili viongozi wametuonyesha njia, na wametuonyesha njia kwamba hao wamekuwa na upendo na wamekuwa na handshake ambayo itatuelekeza pia sisi tuzidi kuenenda na hiyo mpangilio ambayo wametuonyesha. Sasa tunazidi kufurahia kwa ajili ya hiyo ziara ambaye Raila na pia Uhuru ambayo wameshirikiana katika mji wa Kisumu, na tunazidi kusema waendelee mbele na hiyo ushirikiano ili nchi iwache kuwa na mgawanyiko na wafuasi waweze kuelekea katika njia moja. Hilo ndio jambo ambalo ningesema kwa nyinyi.
Naam, hapo awali ilikuwa vigumu sana kwa Rais Uhuru Kenyatta kuelekea katika maeneo ya Nyanza, na kila alipokuwa akielekea ilikuwa ni hakuwa akipokewa kwa njia nzuri sana. Lakini sasa leo hii anakuwa akielekea na kiongozi wa NASA Raila Odinga baada ya ile handshake ya March 9th. Na leo hii anapokewa, pengine nyinyi hapa inamaanisha nini kwenu hapa? Na iwapo leo hii rais atakuwa akija katika maeneo haya na kiongozi wa NASA Raila Odinga, mtampokea vipi?
Kupokea kiongozi wa NASA, tutampokea kwa njia inayofaa, kwa sababu pia naye ametuonyesha kwamba yuko pamoja na wako pamoja na rais wetu, pia kiongozi ambaye sisi tumekuwa tukimtegemea. Na pia sasa ile ni jambo ambalo litatuonyesha pia hata yakikuja huku tutamkaribisha vile kwa shangwe, vigelegele, na tutazidi kuwa pamoja naye kama vile wako pamoja na rais.
Pengine nikuulize wewe baba, utanieleza jina lako alafu niambie, unaona kama ziara hii ya Rais Uhuru Kenyatta ina chochote pengine kisiasa, haswa katika siasa za mwaka 2022?
Kwa majina naitwa Peter Jogu. Hapo beleni katika uchaguzi uliopita 2022 Rais makamu wa kijoni wa upinzani Raila Odinga tulikuwa tumempokea hapa kama wakazi wa Nyeri. Hata tulikuwa tunamuita kiongozi jamba. Na hiyo kitu bado iko. Ile kitu ni mgawanyiko wa siasa ambao itokea baadaye, lakini vile tunatarajia ni vile mwenendo wa kama 2022 ikikija, hiyo mwenendo tutaamua kulingana na vile siasa itakuwa vile. Yeah.
Pia tu niulize wa mwisho pia. Naomba tu nikuulize baba, manake Rais Uhuru Kenyatta na kiongozi wa NASA Raila Odinga pia watakuwa wakipatiwa shahada katika chuo kikuu cha Jaramogi Oginga Odinga ya heshima ile. Pengine tu uelezee, unaona vipi, ina maana gani kwa wananchi kwamba baada ya ile siasa ambayo ilikuwa imevutana, leo hii Rais Kenyatta na Raila Odinga wanafanya mambo kwa pamoja, wanaelekea pia kupata hiyo shahada? Pengine ina umuhimu gani kwako wewe kama mkazi wa Nyeri na kama mpiga kura katika taifa la Kenya?
Mimi kama mkazi wa Nyeri naonelea vile wameenda wamepatiwa shahada leo, wamepatiwa kule upande ya Nyanza, vile wameenda hata wakikuja upande hii upande yetu Central wakipata shahada wakuja tu pamoja hivyo tu wanatuonyesha umuhimu hii moja. Atakuwa Kenya wakati wa siasa vile nakuja wanasemanga hii ni war, lakini hakuna vita vile tunapigana chonga na wale magridi, na sasa hawa wasee wametuonyesha Kenya tutafanya pamoja kazi. Mimi naona hiyo muhimu.
Na pengine swali la mwisho tu, naomba nizungumze na babangu hapa kwa swali la mwisho. Unaona kama ziara hii ya Rais Uhuru Kenyatta kuelekea katika eneo la Nyanza litaathiri mpango wa siasa wa naibu wa Rais William Ruto mwaka 2022?
No, I can't say that because wanajijua ni venye tunakaa hivi. Sisi ndio wakuwategua na sisi ndio tutawate. So there's a problem between me and them. Sikuna? So no.
Well, thank you. Asante. Well, thank you, Brenda. Those are the views of the residents here in Karatina. Of course, they are actually receiving this news of President Uhuru Kenyatta and NASA leader Raila Odinga are going to Nyanza with lots of positivity. With some of them actually saying that this is actually turning a new page for the country. Brenda, remember that specific visit by the president where he will also launch the universal health coverage. Nyeri County being one of the pilot counties with Isiolo, Machakos and Kisumu County. So it is a visit that means a lot for the people of Nyeri and the people of Karatina, to be specific. I'll continue speaking to the residents here just to get their opinion. But as of now, Brenda, I'll bring it back to you in studio as I continue engaging the residents in Nyeri County.
Right, thank you so much, Ibrahim Karanja. So far, now we've heard from our reporters in 2 counties, Kisumu County from Remi Mwangi, Willie Lusige, Nyeri County from Ibrahim Karanja, and of course residents from both Kisumu and Nyeri counties. Let's also hear from governance and political expert Gabriel Mudhuma, also just to talk to us about the president's visit. He's joining us here in our studios. And thank you so much, Mr. Gabriel Mudhuma, for talking to us. The president's visit to Nyanza region seems strategic because it's going to the backyard of opposition leader Raila Odinga that actually boycotted the repeat presidential election.
Thank you, Brenda, and thanks for having me in studio this morning. Well, there are several things I think that we expect out of this visit. Well, number one is actually the universal healthcare, which forms a key pillar of President Uhuru's Big Four agenda. So this is something that has actually been talked about. I don't want to say hyped, but this is something that has been in the pipelines. As Kisumu being one of the counties that are actually piloting this program. So this is a huge thing if you look at it from a development point of view. The other thing, obviously, is what you've talked about, and it touches a little bit on the political side of things. And by the way, somebody who has put it very clearly is earlier on you were talking to Honorable Gladys Wanga, and I think she put it very clearly. Back a year ago when we were having all these issues about who's boycotting elections, who is resisting what, I think that has actually been swept aside, and now it's more like we're in a new dispensation where you're talking about people being under the umbrella of the handshake. That will come out very clearly. In fact, it is what allows this visit to happen, because you're looking at it being one of the first official visits of the president to be on the lakeside region. So we have to wait and see how the pomp and color, will actually be hyped on this event when it comes to political side of things. But the other things that it actually brings out very clearly is the Jubilee brand promise, which is a stable Kenya, a united Kenya, a Kenya that is progressive. And by the way, the people in Nyeri have just talked about it. There is an element of peace right now that was not there before. So it gives a very good guidance of things that are going to follow, following this particular visit to the lakeside region.
Bringing in the universal health care, because that is the main agenda for the president this morning in Kisumu County, despite launching, expected to be launching several projects. And this universal health care coverage is a pilot project in 4 counties, Nyeri, Kisumu, Isiolo and Machakos. But why did the president choose Kisumu County specifically to actually launch this project? Don't you see a lot of politics probably being played at the end of the day?
Well, Brenda, I don't know whether I would call it a politics at this time. I mean, you had to choose counties. It's like what you would say. Having chosen Isiolo, I mean, was there any political mileage to be made? What I find a little bit strategic is that, Kisumu as a county And I mean, you've seen in the past, they've actually struggled a lot in matters health. That is just the truth. And, you know, for these to have been piloted there, I would actually say I did not find a county that actually stands on a platform that is so well defined for them to gain from UHC. What probably we should be pushing a little bit further is for this program to be to have a lot of accountability in it, because I mean, coming to the backdrop of last week and the week before, where we were reading you know, stories of how money has been siphoned through NHIF, you know, that I think may clamor, you know, negatively. Let me use that word. Negatively clamor a little bit on the universal healthcare. But I hope at the end of the day we will overcome these issues, because I believe that is the only thing that can negate the gains that are going to be, you know, realized through this universal healthcare. But to answer your question, people may read politics in it, and that can be understood. But more than that, there are so many things actually which have taken place. You've had the issue about the dam. You've had the issue about the housing, which is continuing right now in Kisumu County. So, you know, picking healthcare as a political or, you know, as a yardstick for politics at this point, I think that will be, you know, a little bit off.
So what do you expect the president and, you know, his political friend, you know, Raila Odinga, to tell residents of Kisumu? Because there seems to be a bit of some disgruntlement among some opposition supporters in Kisumu County after that handshake between President Uhuru and Honorable Raila Odinga.
Well, of course, again, you're right, Brenda. You know, when the handshake happened, you know, it was not well defined. Most people, even within Jubilee, you know, questioned what that handshake was all about. NASA also, many people questioned that, you know, what that handshake was all about. But as we've moved along, many people have actually come within those two coalitions. They've actually come to accept that there's something that inherently this handshake has brought. And among other things, that is the stability and peace that we are enjoying in the country. So it gives a platform, not only of stability, but also for business to thrive. For the projects that we are talking about, you know, things like the road, which the president and the former prime minister will be unveiling. We are talking about the dam. We are talking about, you know, the many of the development, the housing. So yes, at one point, yeah, there was what you would call the political murmuring here and there. But as time has gone, that 1 year, you know, has covered those really people would call dissidents to actually toe into the line. Probably we may see skirmishes here and there. And I'm not talking about the big skirmishes. I'm talking about the negative political undertones, which may come. And again, that is expected. But more than that, I do not expect for them to come and cloud really this handshake and you know, what is happening in Kisumu. I see it as a very tiny bit of what we are going to experience.
All right, when you talk about political undertones, let's talk about the politics of 2022. Recently, we've seen a lot of pressure for the Raila, Kalonzo, Mudavadi, and Baringo Senator Gideon Moi, that is to have an alliance for 2022. We also saw Deputy President William Ruto visit Homa Bay County and Migori. There's a bit of political rejection from some staunch ODM political leaders. So what does this say that President Uhuru Kenyatta is today visiting that region? Are we also likely to see 2022 play about today?
I would not bet against it. It may actually come here and there. And why should it come there? Because it is the opposition region. You know, everybody is racking, you know, their, what do you call their populace? Their political populace, if you will. And this actually would present, if I was somebody in NASA probably giving them a strategy, this presents a very good one for them, because this is where they say, you know, this is what we've been able to do. You've had people talk about if it's anything that you're giving back, this is the region, you know, that should come first. And they've taken this debate way back to the former President Jomo Kenyatta and Jaramogi Raila Odinga. So these are some of the things that we expect to come in matters politics in that particular region. But again, we cannot discount the very fact that so many politicians, among the keys that you've actually mentioned, who have trained their sights in 2022, they will play politics. And when you've been given such, let me call it an environment, I know most of them will ride on that particular environment until the wheels fall off. So what probably we can expect, the tones of 2022 may play out in matters, mainly in matters saying you owe. And I hope, we get, or we run away from that word "or," because at this point it doesn't mean much, or it does not signify, a progressive kind of state. But, that is not to say it won't come up. So if we are going to move in the direction of development, like the president has said, the matters, keeping his Jubilee brand promise, the matters of talking about the big four, then I think he must, if he wills, keep away from the succession politics as much as possible. That is not to mean, Brenda, that other key leaders who are in Kisumu this morning will not talk about it.
All right, let's talk about the universal healthcare coverage registration. So far, Kisumu County has registered 245,000 residents against the targeted number of 240,000. Are we likely to see this number go up after the president's visit? Because it's coming to a region that's been termed as a Raila region, because Raila has always been known as the kingpin of the Luo Nyanza region. Well,
Brenda, with actually the reception that he gets, which will be an amazing reception, let me just preempt it. You may expect these numbers to go up, because this is now the understanding of where now the key player there, who is NASA leader Raila Odinga, will take this mantle and actually run with it. He must want to see development, happening in his region. Not only that, he wants as many people in his region to be covered through this universal healthcare. So it would be very absurd, and actually it will negate why he's even there this morning if he's not going to push this forward for his people to actually benefit from the universal healthcare. So to answer your question, I think you will see these numbers going up.
But where does this whole visit of Uhuru to Nyanza region place Deputy President William Ruto?
Well, if you really want to divorce him from the politics of the day, then you have to divorce him from Jubilee. That is not happening anytime soon. So, and that is why, the coalition, Jubilee coalition matters at this point. I would say at this, given this moment, Jubilee is headed by those two gentlemen, the president and his deputy. So it does not put him in any awkward position. As a matter of fact, if the president is going under the banner of Jubilee, then that also gives mileage to his deputy.
The reason as to why, Mr. Mudhuma, I'm asking this question is because we saw that, let me call it, lack of a better word, a bit of some hostility towards the Deputy President when he visited Homa Bay and Migori County. He launched several projects, and political leaders from there are like, he's not the right person to launch these projects. We have ministers, cabinet secretaries in charge of different ministries who can do this. And today we're seeing the president going there without his deputy. So that's why I was asking you, where does it place the Deputy President William Ruto when it comes to the current political situation of 2018 as we go forward in 2022 politics?
Justifiably so, Brenda, and you've again put it very, very well. You see, Deputy President William Ruto is among the first forerunners come 2022. So that can be understood, because I can bet probably we are speculating on this, if Honorable Raila will be in the ballot, then, that just makes him his political nemesis, if you will. So, to the horse to bolt at this point is to show, we have one of us in this region who will be, championing our interests, and presidential ambitions come 2022. So the only person, who is seated against that backdrop is Honorable the Deputy President William Ruto. So I can understand the hostility at this time, because the president, he's not going to serve another term. He's made that very clear. The Constitution doesn't allow. So he will be packing his bags and exiting the political stage, if you will. And again, we have to wait and see how that goes. But the person right now you would train your sights, if you are actually eyeing 2022, will be the Honorable Deputy President William Ruto.
All right, a lot of expectations here, Mudhuma, from residents of Kisumu County, and of course, not just residents, but also political leaders, because among some of the issues they want the president to address, and I was talking to some of them yesterday, was they want the issue of post-election violence some of these victims to be compensated. This happened more than 10 years ago. They claim some have not been compensated. You also had what Honorable Gladys Wanga talked about, the dam when it comes to flooding. There's also the issue of reviving some of the sugar industries in that region. Is the president likely to address some of these issues that leaders want him to address?
Actually, Brenda, that is an engagement which I hope the leaders and the president would have. You know, having cemented the handshake, I think those are the pressing issues that the president and Honorable Raila Odinga should address. You know, we've talked about even back in 2008, 2007, you still have people who claim they've not been compensated, following those clashes. Then again, you still have, we all know what happened, in the last election. So if those are genuine, those come out really as genuine concerns, which I believe the president should be addressing at this point. They can find, a forum can be created where these grievances will be heard and then, expedited, and people whose businesses were lost, they can, get compensation. And it's not only on that, in that region, Brenda. You remember Nairobi, so many businesses actually took a dive, took a loss. And, if we can learn from, what we learned in 2007, 2008, I think this handshake will formulate almost a near policy where we'll ensure that every time we have an election or after every 5 years, we do not go that way because it will be leading to losses. So apart from learning on that, I think we should set up, whether it's a committee or a commission that would look into compensating such, those businesses, because people have been complaining. We know very well there are some who their businesses have never recovered. Some who lost lives. I mean, what are we going to do, about that? So I think this is a very honest discussion that we must have as a nation. I don't want to put it regionally. No, we need to have it as a nation, and we must find the way forward. For finalizing on that question still, I think when you talk about reviving the industries, I support that. When you talk about the flooding, these are key issues that the county government must also be involved. This is the key issue when you talk about governance. Where there is where people are hurting, where the economies are hurting. This is actually the epitome of true leadership. We must come in and find solutions to our problems, and this sets up a very good tone and pace to ensure that if we can sit down as leaders, having come, a year ago, and the animosity, we couldn't look at each other, we couldn't even talk at each other or to each other rather. I think and today we have an environment where we can do that. I think it gives us credence that these are things that we can normalize as a country and be able to move forward.
All right, thank you so much.